doing? We out here, chilling in the spot. What up? How y'all doing? We out here, chilling in the spot. What up? How y'all doing? We out here, chilling in the spot. What up? How y'all doing? We out here, chilling in the spot. What up?
Hey, what's going on, y'all? Brothers Breaking Bread podcast in the house. Hey.
We'll have a little potluck. Have everybody over. It'll be good.
Yeah, let's make it happen. Let's not just talk about it.
This is a beautiful thing, man. Just all this blackness, and we all just getting together. We playing dominoes, we eating, we drinking.
And, you know, food is always just the extra, man.
They deprive these people of their basic human rights. You know, and we call ourselves Americans. We're supposed to be above all this.
They'll fake the crisis. They'll make it seem way out of proportion.
We brothers, we breaking bread.
How y'all doing? We out here, chilling in the spot. What up?
Trying to hold it all together, man. Life is moving fast right now, man. So it's good to have everybody come through.
I love that, man. I love it a lot more than I could say to you guys.
But here it is though. Real talk though, if GM don't come through, we know there's a shortage of positions for black men somewhere. Kansas and Missouri has a shortage of black men as far as teachers. There are 100,000 teachers in Missouri and Kansas. How come only, well, it says 1%, but exactly 1.2% of Missouri, I guess in Missouri alone, only 1.2% are black men as far as teachers. Why does it matter? Right. So we got some educators on here. We also have Lady Lavender, former educator, but now she also teaches and coaches future educators. So
I'm a lifelong educator.
Talk to him. My bad.
All day.
My bad.
Once an educator, always an educator.
There you go.
Damn.
Correct yourself.
Y'all like the Marines?
Cause I'm gonna tell a nigga what to do to the day I die, nigga. Look, I'm a teacher, nigga. I'm telling niggas to sit down and shut the fuck up for a long time after I'm retired, nigga.
So I'll read this paragraph and then leave y'all at it. Studies have found that teachers of color can improve educational experiences of all students and compared with their white peers, they are more likely to have higher expectations of students of color, confront issues of racism, develop more trusting relationships with students, particularly those who share a cultural background. And the teachers of color tend to serve as advocates and cultural brokers, the Urban League said. So with that said, we already know the importance of representation. We hear all the time when it comes to people in, fashion and CEOs and shit like that. But when it comes to teaching, it you don't hear that pushed as much, but then we have these articles that come out that once again puts it in our face that representation is important at all levels. So let's have it, you educators for a lifetime.
Hey, before y'all educators get into this thing, let me say something about especially the black male educator. First of all, it was a black male educator that actually.
Did he touch you?
I'm joking.
I'm joking. Never mind. Go ahead.
Anyway, nigga. It was a black male educator that, that motivated me to, strive for excellence. In anything that I did or whatever. And this was back, way back, and I'm talking about elementary school, way back. This man actually taught me something, the values of life. And that's what I think that most male African-American teachers do. They not only teach you the basics and things like that, they teach you experiences. And so I think they are very beneficial to the educational system. And with that being said, I'll leave y'all to it.
Indeed.
Amen to that.
Amen.
Yes, indeed.
So I guess we just start off with, why do we What builds that up? What makes this the shortage? Why is there a shortage? How do we get to this point? And then I guess down the line we can ask, how do we fill these crucial positions?
Well, I was just talking to former athlete of mine who's now a colleague on the coaching ranks. He's thinking about making a run for city council.
Ooh, is that?
I apologize. I'm back to school board. I'm sorry, school board.
Okay, I'm about to say that Mr. Bell?
Yeah. I don't want to name names because I don't know if he wants to be outed. You know what I'm saying? But he has listened to the podcast once or twice.
Okay.
But I'm saying to you that he was kind of calling me to kind of get some some kind of understanding of what direction he needed to take, and I was definitely supportive of that. But I wanted to make, I'm a teacher, man, so I continually want to teach. So I talked to him about, a little bit about his direction. And one thing I want to tell him is that, man, I felt like as a school district, I don't want to say that we have too many white teachers. That's not what I want to say. I think we have some excellent teachers who are not from the urban core. Okay, they're excellent teachers. I want to say that we don't have enough of our own.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And I told him I think the direction that we need to be in, and I think we've taken steps in that direction, but I think we need to go further. Is we need to recruit the students that we are producing, and get them to come back into the district. And I do know that they have taken steps toward that. I do know that they have at our vocational training. They have some education courses where they have young kids, basically engaging with younger kids and learning a little bit about teaching. But we need to go full bore into recruiting people, that we produce and identifying them early, people who are, tied in to what we do, and we can identify them and recruit them and I say give them scholarships and bring them into a situation where they go to college knowing that we have their back, mm-hmm. and then when they get out of college, we want them to come back into our program and then help speak to the people we know.
Ask you this real quick, man. Why do you think that hasn't been more of a focus or more of a point?
Hey Zeb, I would answer that question, but I like my job.
God damn. So we'll just leave it to that.
There's reasons why that doesn't happen.
Right.
There's still even within schools, there's still people who feel like that whole thing, those who can't teach, right? It's not seen as a profession in some ways. It's not seen on par with we need to train our kids and to be doctors or to make sure that they're great athletes so they can go pro. It's not seen as a high quality field, even within education, even within schools.
I'm telling you. Sorry, go ahead. And I want to keep my job, so I need to make sure that I'm of clear mind because I've been on this Jim Beam.
Right.
Jesus, nigga.
But
you on that rye?
Sound like a disclaimer.
Yeah, he's on that rye.
I'm on the Kentucky.
Okay, you're on the Kentucky. Okay. I didn't know that rye, that green bottle.
Hey.
But what I'm saying to you is, I feel like I would like to see us value our own product.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
I would like to see us not go to the outside consultant and look for expertise among outsiders. I would like for us, and when I say us, I mean urban communities across the country. I mean, the organization for which I work in. I would like to say the state of Missouri, the state of Kansas. I would like for us to look at the products that we produce, and say to them, there's natural genius there. I would like to say the employees that we have that are on the assembly line to be in solidarity with my UAW brother. You know what I'm saying? The people that's on the assembly line putting out these products, man, we need to trust them and say, hey, these people have been through the wars. They understand the issues. They are trained. They're well trained because we have trained them. Let's trust them. Let's give them the efficacy, the capacity to make decisions, and trust them that they have the knowledge base, the best interest of our students, the best interest of our community, in place, and let's empower them to make decisions that change lives. You know what I'm saying? And so I would like to see us do more of that, and I want to see that manifested in you know, when we talk about African American men, I mean that's what we produce in the urban core. We have more access to African American men. We have the earliest situation to identify. Look, if I'm a college coach and I'm recruiting a basketball player, I know in middle school that's a kid that I want to come be playing for me in the pros. Right. You know what I'm saying? They had LeBron James pegged out a long time ago. Nobody has earlier access to the academic gifted minds in our school district than we do.
Mm-hmm. Right.
We need to be cultivating those minds. Go ahead.
No, finish up. Go ahead.
No, I'm good. Go ahead, Adam.
No, I was going to say one of the issues with that is, again, within the schools, not only cultivating those students from a young age and making sure that you're doing that mentoring and doing all the recruiting then out from high school all the way through college and graduation. I feel like there's still a lot of people within schools who are teaching students who don't feel that their students are good enough for fill in blank anything, let alone to be a teacher. So I think that's a big part of it as well. It's like, yeah, we're teaching them, but these kids, so, I'm not saying everybody, but a lot of people within school districts and schools that I've been in don't believe in their students enough to where they believe anything is possible with them.
Mm-hmm. So is there like...
Go ahead, Zeb, my bad. Go ahead, Zeb.
Go ahead.
No, you go ahead. Go. You guess. Go ahead, man.
Well, I was just going to say, is there like within that system that you're talking about, where they're not, you know, I guess feeling that the students are capable of fulfilling these positions, you know, let alone being an educator, is there no self-introspection within that? So is there no is nobody taking responsibility?
We preach metacognition on a daily basis.
Right.
We ask ourselves to think about our level of thinking when it comes to having students think about how they learn best, when it comes to think about the way in which we're presenting a lesson. We think about metacognition on that level on a daily basis. But I'm saying to you, and I put it this way, I don't operate at the higher levels. You know what I'm saying? I'm sure there's some metacognition that takes place there where they're thinking about how they're operating the system. And I know, and I'm telling you, that I have seen evidence that there is a program in place that I've seen in recent years to identify students who might be interested in teaching and push them in that direction. I do not see it on a large enough scale. And I feel like, and like I said, I do want to say that there are brilliant white teachers that show that they care about students.
Mm-hmm. Right.
I just feel like people who are of the same community as the students don't have to try as hard. I think that they are a natural fit, and I just don't think that we have recruited and honed the talent of these young geniuses the way that we should.
Yeah,
I was going to ask another.
Go ahead.
Well, right before Zed, I was going to ask another question. Like, it's not very deep. So, like, specifically talking about like black males, being a black male with a nursing degree, I come to find out that, you know, and I go back and look that males in general as nurses not really pushed. A black male as a nurse definitely not pushed. Do you see that as a problem also? Like just the idea of like just black, like it's frowned upon, like people still have that mindset that teaching, I only equate it to my field, which is nursing is still 2000, we're about to be 2020, and a lot of motherfuckers still think that nursing is a female field.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So do you see some of that too playing a part?
I definitely think
pushing it, but seeing a mirror, like representation matters. So if you're in a school where there's not many or any African American males, women, if you're a Latino person, Latino, whatever it is, if you don't see it, you might not even think that it's a thing that's possible.
Correct.
And you might not have people in your family who are doing it. Like representation matters. Every school should have staff that represents their students, percentage-wise at least.
And we had, I don't know if Tim he may not, I don't know if you were there or not, I don't know if it was before you left or not. You know, we have those students that come and shadow and all that stuff like that. And there was and she was a African American female, and she was shadowing nurses. And Lackaretti was like, hey, why don't you want to be a doctor? And she was like, because I actually want to work. And he was like, all right then.
Okay.
Even a thing like that, like at schools that I've worked at, they've had different like job shadowing days and like, let's take you out into the real world. But there's never like follow the teacher, see what it's actually like being a teacher, because it's not just seen as a profession. It's like,
oh, you guys, they don't have that?
No, we don't. No,
I don't know, bro. I don't know. I'm just
here, and we'll take them down to the hospital and have them be candy stripers or whatever. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Right.
We'll have them do everything in the world except for follow us. And I'm saying to you, we are dying.
I know.
Like in the urban core, the represent. I'm saying to you that the perception of the school district is poor, and I'm telling you that teaching and learning takes place. But I'm saying to you also that there is a disconnect between the people who are being tasked with teaching and the students who are learning.
Right.
And I'm saying to you that's I'm not saying that we don't have professional teachers, but I'm saying to you, I feel like in a perfect world, the people who are teaching you are going to look like you and understand the language that you speak and be of you. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not saying that you can't do it. And I'm not saying there's not a place for other people, you know what I'm saying, for others in the community. I think it's important that people outside the community, because you need to become in contact with other people so you can understand what other people's communities understand. So there's with this study, there was another article that was published that said, you know, not only are African American students good for African students, you know, African diaspora, you know, some Black Americans.
Yep.
But also for white Americans. It's important to see a Black man in a position of leadership. If you're a white student.
I definitely agree.
I was going to add to that because, you know, I agree with Joe wholeheartedly about what he's saying, because I think it's very important that we see leadership come from African Americans or, you know, someone of color, because then I feel that, you know, not only culture is being taught, you know, but I think it's also, you know, beneficial that, you know, white students and Black students learn. And I am so dangerous right now.
Nigga, I didn't know if you would break it.
So I'm gonna go ahead and pull the mic back since you stepped on me.
I about to say, dog. I didn't
on you though. But I was trying to agree with you.
Hey, you know you.
What I'm saying. Let me get it.
Go ahead, Joe. My bad.
It's not only important in urban settings. It's important in general. Thank you, sir. I appreciate you. So across Missouri, across Kansas, where the study is being done, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
It is. So we just got through talking about these people who are for Trump at their own, you know, disinterest.
Right.
They are for Trump, even though he is against unions, which they should be working for if they want to see higher wages. You know what I'm saying? Exactly. And I think a lot of the part of that is because they do not see themselves aligning with people of color. You know what I'm saying? And so, you know, Barack Obama was a person of color. He is with the Democratic Party, who has been aligned with the LGBT community, aligned with the African American community, aligned with the Mexican American community. And so they see themselves as the other. And what I'm saying to you, it's important that we go out and even into the rural communities and we represent ourselves as people of authority, so you can see these people are human beings. Mm-hmm. They're not some foreign monster that's down in the city that's up there doing all these things that we see on the news. They're human beings who have similar interests to everybody else. I got my guy, you know what I'm saying? I'm not going to call out names, but I got, you know, my assistant dean who's out there at Lee Summit North as a vice principal this year. It's important for the people of Liberty North to be able to see an African American in a position of leadership, so that when they get out in the world, they can see African Americans and understand that they are capable human beings who are rational thinkers, who are able to, you know what I'm saying, be in leadership positions.
Right.
Yeah.
I think President Obama's election was very important because of that fact. Because one, he showed that African Americans can be leaders. African Americans can lead and lead the free world. And that was a prime example of leadership. And
I think that was the most important thing about his presidency.
Exactly. And so, that kind of inspires, to me, that inspires, African Americans to, take upon that part of leadership or take upon a part of that role of leadership, to, just take upon that part of leadership.
Hey, dog, you so drunk. You sound like your connection is breaking up, nigga.
He's drunk to the motherfucker, bro.
That nigga said, this nigga sound like this.
Right now.
This nigga sound like Max Headroom, nigga.
Stop spinning, man.
This nigga sound like Max Headroom, nigga. Just lay down, nigga.
I am trying to make this room stop spinning right now.
Nah, but
Go to sleep, nigga. Go to sleep.
I won't say his name or his school, but my good friend, good friend, been over the house, has spoken to Lady Lavender. He's I believe a vice principal at a school out in Kansas City, Kansas, middle school, and he talked about some of the and I want to get him on the show, and we had to figure out a fucking fake name for him or something. Cause he's afraid about that, the public and all that shit like that.
Yeah,
but just listen to him and Lady Lavender talk about some of the setbacks and some of the things that go on as far as just education and getting good teachers and all that shit like that. It just sounds very frustrating. And I've already said back when we had the other podcast that I respect deeply what you do. I've told Lady Lavender before. I respect what she does deeply. I told my friend out in Kansas City, Kansas, that it is something that it's like people expect their children to become physicians and physicists and engineers and all these other things, but it's like, who puts them in that position to do those things? Fucking teachers and educators that lift them up and show them and teach them the value of whether it's reading, whether it's math, whether the simplest things of fucking polynomials, I don't know, fucking geometry. It's just you guys who do these things. And it's like people just expect their children just to come out one day and be physicists, but it's like, no, it's the fucking teachers that make this happen. It's true that there's parents at home that push that and drive that, but who do the parents drop their children off to every day, expecting them to produce a product?
The educators, man.
And it's just like, even just outside this black male, just in general, the importance, or I should say lack of importance, that we put on the educators is very frightening in this society. Very frightening.
Yeah.
Yeah, and disrespectful, man.
Especially with the current Secretary of Education.
Oh my God!
She needs to go to hell.
Yeah.
But she might go. I mean, she ain't going to jail, but she might get a little fine. But that's about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I say go to hell.
No, I understand. I get what you're saying. I'm saying that
that bitch needs to fry, dog.
Damn.
I'm sorry.
Damn.
She needs to fry.
Hey man, you need to eat something, nigga.
Nah, no. You gonna be? Hey, get some Taco Bell and let that oil.
Hey,
You've been on these reunities, nigga. The reunities getting to you, bro.
And you got a half a pound of chorizo there. Just fry that up and eat that. And don't drain none of the grease, nigga. Just let all that just soak up everything you've been motherfucking drinking.
From now on, I will be silent.
No, don't be like that. Get out of here, nigga.
Nigga, get some bread and soak that shit up, nigga.
Some bread. You want some of this coon meat?
No.
Right.
Before I sell it to the Chinaman?
Got me these sandwiches.
You want a coon sandwich, nigga? But nah, man, like, yeah, it's yeah. Listen to you guys talk about it. Like, we could probably do a whole podcast on just education, like Kansas City, Kansas, and Missouri, and yeah, it's yeah. I mean, for an atheist to say this, you know what I'm saying though. You gotta do God's work though, for real. It's hard to go in there, and I'm like, when I get like 18, 19-year-old soldiers, back when I gave them about the military and teaching them how to be soldiers, I couldn't imagine going in there and getting like preteens and teenagers previous to graduation and teaching them how to care about life, about themselves, and educating them, you know, just on the basics of life. So you guys are really doing. I mean, yeah, it's hats off, man.
And
Look, man, I've known Joe since we was about, 19, 20, something like that.
Yep.
Yeah,
And, you know, I've known a lot of people since then, you know, in between from then to now. And he's really the only person I knew. I used to have a friend, this Brazilian lady, and she was like the only other person that at a young age, they was like, they want to be teachers.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And especially like with Joe, as you know, coming from a black male, when I was in like my last couple of semesters or something like that in college, I did a intern at a middle school for like a middle school math, because I had a lot of math, and I just did the intern just to be doing something for a credit or something like that.
Right.
But I ended up like really enjoying it. You know, it was like really cool. But anyways, you know, for him to be that young and knowing that that's what he wanted to do, and not only knowing that he wanted to do that, but I remember him specifically telling me that he wanted to teach at Central. You know, I don't even know where you teach at now.
I'm at Central, bro. I'm at Central.
At Central, right? You know what I'm saying?
Central.
And he was like, you know, because that's where he went to school at. You know what I'm saying? So he wanted to, you know, basically, you know, put back in what he was, you know, what he was able to withdraw, you know, from being in school there. I don't know what, I never even asked him. I don't even know what inspired him, you know, to go along that path, man. But, you know, that was, made an impression to me.
I mean, you know, much love, bro. You my dude. So I appreciate that, man. You know what I'm saying? But if you want to answer that question, I mean, what inspired me is I had people who fed into me, man. Yeah. Particularly my coach, man. Richard Samuels was my mentor. He was a PE teacher. I never actually had him as a student, but he was my coach for 3 years. And you know, he was somebody who took me across the United States to go to track meets and fed into, you know what I'm saying, we went down to New Orleans, we went to Indianapolis, you know what I'm saying, we went to, as a professional, he took me to Virginia, to Norfolk, to be involved with track meets and that type of thing. Yeah. We went to Arkansas on several occasions, but I'm saying to you that he also, you know, got instilled in me a love of coaching. I wanted to be a coach, but I mean, he's a gym teacher, but he also has a history background, so there's that too. You know what I'm saying? So right. Every day I get to go into work and I get to talk about things that I'm passionate about. Awesome. Mm-hmm. I get to go in and talk about history, which is something that I'm very passionate about. And then when I'm done with talking about history, guess what I get to do? I get to go talk about track. Right. And that's, I mean, that's like, come on, man. What I do? What other job is there that's going to let me do that? And then I get paid. I get paid pretty well. You know what I'm saying? I know people talk about the teacher's pay, but I work 10 months, and I get 2 months in the summer to do whatever I want to do. If I want to work during those two months, I get paid extra. You know, so I get paid double. So I mean,
not that bad.
I'm winning. So what I've been doing recently is I got a young guy who's been one of my athletes, and I want to pay that forward, man. And I was talking to him. He's kind of figuring out. He knows he wants to be a track athlete, right. But he doesn't want to know. He doesn't know what he wants to do when track is over. And and when these articles came out, man, I forwarded them to him, and I said, man, I know that you want to be a coach, and you've had some reservations about being a teacher, but I'm like, dude, there's job security in this. I mean, if you are a black man who's able to speak to inner city youth, man, there is a place for you, because I mean, nobody is going to be able to speak to young black men like young black men.
Right.
Hey Joe,
You know
tell
what I'm
him if you don't want to teach, you can be a nurse because no black male nurses. I'm just joking. I'm not joking, but you know.
Nigga, I already know too. What you talking about, nigga?
I'm just saying, dog. Tell him become a black male nurse and then go to EP specifically and holler at your boy. Tell him look up DJ. Look up. Actually, just tell him look me up. I'll tell him all the people to talk to. He'll get paid nicely if you don't want to teach.
Straight up.
Hey,
Well,
I thought
it takes a village.
Touch on something that's huge, and that I was actually thinking about the last school that I worked at in St. Louis before I went to New York. There were it was a pretty diverse school, and I would say maybe like a third of the staff had graduated from the school and come back to teach or be counselors or be coaches or be
That's awesome.
even if it meant starting out in ISS. Like one of the people started out at ISS, moved to another district, started studying, became a counselor, and now is back in his home school, his high school,
That's awesome.
as a counselor. And it's, I think, just doing things like that where kids see that not only do I have like black and brown people as my teachers, but they went to the school that I went to. They are like me in that sense, like really like me, like they went here. I think that's
from the same neighborhood.
well.
Yeah.
That is so powerful. That's so powerful.
it is.
And
It is.
I just feel like we need to tap into that.
Yeah, and so these different programs, whether it's something happening at Manual Tech or if it's something that's built up in the school, like I think in one of those articles it talked about Kaufman is doing something like this, just something where they're cultivating the kids and helping them see and yes, have like go shadow a doctor, a nurse, and every other occupation, but also see what teaching.
But come back and see us. Come back and see us.
Yeah. It's not, you see a teacher, and that's the thing I think that happens is that kids and adults even are like, oh, I know what teaching's like. I had teachers my whole life. I know exactly what they do, but it's not what you see when you're sitting in a class. It's like completely different. So just letting kids see what it's actually like, I think is big.
There's a whole other side to it. Yeah.
I think well, Lady Lavin was speaking about it, but also she's talking about St. Louis, so I didn't even know this. KCK, Raytown, North Kansas City, and Lee Summit school districts have launched Grow Your Own Teacher programs that direct high school students toward profession. Of the 32 students in North Kansas City programs, more than half are students of color. In Raytown, tuition for qualified students is paid if they graduate from a college education program and then teach in the Raytown School District. The Ewing Marion Kaufman Charter School has a 2-year teacher residency program. After the first year, it helps candidates complete online courses, work to obtain Missouri teacher certification. To date, more than 60% of teachers from that program hired at the charter are people of color, and 26% are black men. So that's very powerful. Like as far as like you said, like growing your own, and then also it speaks to. I think it directly speaks to just like the emphasis of showing that it's a fucking profession. It's not just teaching. It's not babysitting. It's a profession.
Yeah.
I love that word. The profession of showing that the profession of teaching is very important and very powerful. You know, and what better way to start than like you said? Like it's like. If you sending your children out to go shadow nurses and doctors and engineers, why not shadow the very people who will teach them how to become those things?
Right.
I'm telling you right now. I'm telling you right now, man. I don't want to toot my own horn, but nigga, I'm sick. There are very few people who can do what I do.
I
You know
agree.
what I'm saying? Like in the setting that I do it, that we've had people who were. We had a teacher that came in, okay? He was from the Shawnee Mission School District. This dude was a rock star in the Shawnee Mission School District, right? He retired from the Shawnee Mission School District. He comes down here and he wants to teach, and he lasted 1 year. We had a student teacher, college. I've done this job, but I can't. Basically, you're in your pre-service, you're in your practicum for teaching. And he said, yeah, that was my teacher over at Shawnee Mission School District. Over here in the KCPS, man, he can't control a classroom. The kids are not engaged, and he was gone in a year. You know what I'm saying? He was a rock star over in the suburban district. You know what I'm saying? I feel like, dude, I feel like there's a small, like, we don't think about these people as professionals, Anybody can teach. If you can't do it in the field, you teach, right?
That's what they tell me.
Teaching is a calling. Teaching is a calling.
Oh yeah.
I was listening to a podcast from a colleague this week, man. It is all about relationships. It's completely about relationships, and it's difficult to establish those relationships if you don't understand the people you're serving.
I agree.
And in order to serve, in order to understand the people you're serving, it's beautiful when you come up. If you are of those people.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? If you are of those people, you already have a built-in advantage. You know what I'm saying?
Hey,
and so you can speak the language they speak.
Like I said,
so, I mean,
Mike, go ahead, Joe.
No, go ahead. Yeah.
No, I can say, like, hats off to like you, JB, Lady Lavender. There's a reason why I work in the field where 85%, probably 9% of the people I deal with are fucking sleep. Cause I don't want to deal with them, nigga. I like, hey, my name is Roger. I'm a fucking technician here. I will be putting these patches on you. I will be assisting the doctor, and you won't remember anything I just said, even though you'll be in this room for 4 hours, nigga. And I'm like, sleep. And we go and we do what we got to do. That's why I say but even more, just dealing with young people, young minds, cultivating them, shaping them. Like I said, hats off to all, not just you two, because I like y'all a lot. But hats off to all the teachers out there, even the ones who are somewhat mediocre. You know what I'm saying? It's still a labor of love, and it's still a very difficult job that is not respected enough. So, all right. Indeed.
Well said.
Thank you, Zeb. Thank you, brother Zeb. Souljah, Zeb. You gotta come back, because Joe don't get this. You will come back. Fuck that. I'm gonna be on Joe about to make sure you come back.
So it's already known. It's already known.
So we talked about something that y'all that Joe and Lady Lavender are passionate about. Now I know Lady Lavender loves music. I know she does, but I know Joe and Zeb love that hip hop, and they love some good diss records. So we in the last episode we talked about the quote unquote beef between Damien and fucking Damien Lillard and fucking Shaq.
Let's pause it right there, because my dude Zeb had a controversial opinion on that. At least I may not be controversial, but it's controversial among the consensus on this show.
Go ahead, Zeb. Speak your mind, bro.
Zeb, who won the battle between Shaq and Dame?
Dame Dollar, man.
Dame Dollar.
Easy.
That's his name?
Based on what?
It sounded. It was. Go ahead. My bad. Go ahead.
Like, look. First and foremost, number one, Shaq is Shaq, right?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, this nigga's like a god. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So Dame.
That nigga Dame's arms is too short to box with God, nigga.
Dame
really? That's what we doing?
With Shaq on the basis of, like, you know, what each individual has accomplished.
Yeah, you with me, Zeb. I said he can't fuck with Shaq. I said he can't fuck with Shaq on the basketball court, but as far as like just sounding a better rapper is Damien. That's what I said.
And I don't think anybody disagree. I don't think anybody disagree that Damien is a better rapper.
I don't know. I think
said that.
I think the other half of the Brothers of Doom is like, I don't fuck that nigga. I don't want to hear about this shit.
I think if you go back and review the techniques to prove to that shit, nigga, he was like, Damien is a better rapper.
I'm gonna have to hear.
But as another member of the ROT,
I'm gonna be like Trump
in another chat group.
I don't believe you.
I feel you.
I'm like Trump, nigga. I don't believe you.
I'm saying to you that battles are not about who is the better rapper. Battles are about who has the better punchlines. And we all know how charismatic Shaq is.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, Shaq came with the better punchlines, man. And I'm telling you, Shaq didn't say nothing but facts.
Yeah, he said nothing.
As we said,
it's true.
If it's a joke, and it happens to be a fact, that nigga is doubly hard.
It's like you trying to push Zeb to another. Zeb said he think Damien won. We'll leave it at that.
Well, nigga, I'm here to turn the tide.
Had better punchlines, though. You know what I'm saying? I really do. Now, with that being said, I only listened to him like one time each. You know what I'm saying? So like, I didn't invest a whole lot of fucking, time, like, dissecting the shit and whatnot. You know, I listened to him. I listened to the Shaq one. Then
all I know is that Shaq got back to back to back, and rappers want to be Shaq, nigga. That's all I know.
Yeah, but I like that.
He don't want to be rappers. Rappers want to be Shaq, nigga. That's all I know.
I get it.
Yeah, I mean that's Shaq. No, that's what I said. That's why I said it when I started talking.
I feel you, Zeb.
Let's be clear. Shaq got the best fucking nickname in the history of basketball. That nigga is the Diesel. Nigga, come on, man.
Yeah, but that nigga said I know.
On that logic, Nas could go up against Shaq.
And Shaq got this.
Nas ain't got the same fucking, track record that Shaq got. He ain't got the same success rate that Shaq got.
Nigga, if it's Shaq versus Nas, I got the Diesel, nigga.
Nigga, get your ass out of here, nigga. You just talking now, nigga. Nigga, that's that. Nigga. Hey, Zeb, don't listen to this nigga. Zeb, don't listen to this nigga. That's that Jim Beam talking, nigga.
Anyway, yeah. What were you talking about? And so there was a new one or something like that.
Yes, nigga.
So
yes, nigga.
So we played. Basically, so. Keep y'all if y'all ain't been listening. So Damien was on Joe Budden podcast? Joe Budden podcast, and he basically said like, yeah, Shaq is cool. Basically, he's a great basketball player, but when I hear him rapping, I just hear the nigga playing basketball rapping. And it's kind of funny though, because a lot of niggas hear Damien Lillard rapping, they're like, yeah, I just hear the nigga play basketball rapping too. That's another inside joke.
That's Damien Lillard. That's Dame Lillard, Dame Dollar.
Yeah, that nigga
basketball.
Yeah, so it's kind of funny. So I guess Shaq took some umbrage to that and like, he put his little thing out. Damien put one out, but then Damien came back and put another song out, but it wasn't really focused on Shaq.
Shannon Sharp,
yeah,
and what's the other white dude on?
Skip Bayless, and then there was
and Shannon Sharp was talking about it on the show, so he threw some shots at them.
Yeah,
and I didn't listen to the rest of the song, but
it did. I listened to the first couple of seconds of it. It wasn't that good, but it wasn't so much Shaq. It was more Skip and Shannon. But to that point, so. Shaq never got a chance to come back out after that first Damien Lillard reply. So then he put out second round knockout, Dame Dollar diss. We're going to go ahead and play it.
It's beastly.
1, 2. Check me out right here, yo.
Not again. Yo, the sun gon' shine forever. On my statues and retired jerseys, I'ma live forever. Better now or never. Kill Damon, my pleasure. We see you lose every year, nobody do it better. Yeah, right. So when you spit something, make sure you spit it right. Don't make an ass out of yourself, cause you're losing. The Diesel's known for bruising. What is you doing? You know that I'm Hall of Fame above you, Damon. Hug you, Damon. I'm gonna make you love me, Damon. Talking crazy ain't gonna get you nothing but smoke. Like when we see you in the playoffs every year when you choke. So the only thing left now is kill these cats. Soft ass baller, I'ma kill these cats. Already when I'm too smart for these cats. While you spitting metaphors, I'm spitting up facts. In the commission, I don't need no permission to hit them. I'ma f them up even if my column is with them. See this little dude can't take defeat. He don't even believe that corny bullshit he speak. That little Kobe comment you said had me grinning. 3 times MVP, damn, at least I'm winning. First of all, little boy, you see this ain't beef. You just talking while I'm hitting.
I'm gonna play it, but I like that Shaq kept it radio friendly.
Trying to act like a superstar, porting your logo. Same cadence in your last flow, switch up your vocals. I can tell in your flow that you rattle. How you a battle rapper in your real job, you ain't win no battles. You rap cause you need a dog, I do it for sport. When you run, I see that tampon string in your shorts. And you shoot too much, dudes on your team hate it. Keep talking, make a phone call, get you traded. You probably chose 0 cause you thought it was hot. You ain't hard cause in real life you dress like a thought. First spanking that I gave you, son, I meant to help you. I'm so mad, even God or Allah can't help you. Cash rules everything around me. Green column looking ass boy, I'm the Lord of the Rings. Cloud chase who? You you ain't got what I want. Why would I clout chase and do a camel toe in the front? I'm in your ass now, damn it, ain't gon' ever lay off. Sitting at the desk, watch you die in the playoffs. Things I don't need is attention and money. Attention for what? 10 commercials running, you dummy. Can't wait till you lose this year. Dr. Diesel gon' bring you in for your annual pap smear. Bring that ass over here. You can't walk away, Cletus. You won't walk shoulders down, looking lost and defeated. Put some respect on my name. Put some respect on my game. Put some respect on these flames. I'm the big LeBron James. You can never come close to the GOAT. Barely make it every year. Cry, complain about them all-star votes. See you drop that second track in a hurry. How you gon' rest your case when I'm the motherfucking judge and the jury? You said my Shaq shoes are chic. But why when I walk in these bitches, boy, I can't be beat. See you got the millennials fooled. How you rep Oakland but went to an Alameda Catholic school. Sitting in a church-friendly classroom facility. Right round don't give you ass no street credibility. Okay, I see what you did, yo. Alameda south of Oakland and east of San Francisco. If you were so great, they would have retired your jersey at Weaver State. But they didn't because they know you were fake. The world gonna see you fall. Lyrically, I'ma do to you what Rondo did to Chris Paul. I'ma leave your ass dead and stinking. About to put you low on the ESPN or your Bleacher Report ranking. Think I really care if we speak? You just mad cause your whole salary, yo, I'm making a week. You're losing, Damon. We can see it so blatant. Dr. O'Neal operating on the patient. You know I got a PhD. That Stanford put his ass down, you nothing but a scrub to me. We can keep this going, keep on flowing. Shaq is worldwide, Dame Dollar don't know her. But you think I wasn't gonna respond? Dropping little grenades, I'm dropping them nuclear bombs. Everybody gon' hear this ether. I don't like your ass, and I don't like Charles Barkley either. Lyrically, I'm 7'5" from the waist up. Tell you one more time, Dame Dollar, shut your face up.
Nobody till somebody kills you. Nobody.
But you know, it's just like
That's it. It's over, nigga. It's over.
it is over. But
Motherfucking Dang gonna have to come push the T on his ass, nigga.
yeah, he got to back hella strong, bro. And I don't even think he's gonna come back, to be honest with you.
Nah, the season started, nigga. He's through, nigga.
He can't.
Oh yeah. I see that.
He can't. That nigga say he the big LeBron James, dog. That had me laugh the first time I heard it, dog. I was like, ooh.
But yeah, I don't know. He kind of sounds like a bully though, a little bit.
Nigga, I'm a bully with these bars, nigga. Shit. Hey.
I mean, the nigga did spend the majority of his NBA career was pushing niggas around.
The realest shit that nigga said.
You're right about that. Not the realest his whole NBA career.
Yeah, my bad. You right. My bad. I stand corrected.
The realest shit this nigga said is you a battle rapper, but you ain't win no battles in your real job, nigga.
Dog, hey, you heard me laugh on the mic, dog. I was like, he did win that one though with that shot. He did hit that one.
He hit the shot. They hit the shot. But hey, but 3 times MVP against that nigga. 4-time ring winner.
Shaq looking at me with these big ass rings, dog. That's all I know, dog. That's all I know, dog. He's with these big ass rings on his finger. That's all I know.
Yeah, nigga, he was fucking with a heavyweight, bro. So Zell, you still on that?
What is this?
Hey, look, man, that was like I said, he killed that. He killed that, man. You know, if Dame comes back, he gonna have to do it strong.
What can he say? What can he say?
Sharp and Skip Bayless and all these.
That's the other one.
Not really shit.
That's the other second one.
I think that's the second round knockout, sir.
Yeah, dog. Like I said, he got to get like Pusha T like levels of just like putting like nigga, you got a motherfucking baby that you won't let come to the States, nigga.
You got a fucking stripper that got your child, nigga. What
nigga,
about that?
You got to do some research.
Yeah, you got to hit that. It ain't real unless I hear that push the T.
He got to leave a condom in the baby seat, nigga. That's what he got to do.
Now, and I gotta hear that.
Gut punch, nigga. That's a gut punch, nigga. Oh man.
Damn, push it. That probably was a good beef though. That nigga said they call him a border patrol agent, nigga. God damn. That still make my eyes water when I think about it, dog.
Playing border patrol.
He called that nigga ICE, nigga. He called that nigga border patrol. Okay.
Good shit.
I'm I don't know, Zeb. So you saying so is it the case closed unless Dame come back with some hot shit?
Come back strong, bro. Yeah.
Like real strong.
I gotta accept reality, right?
Yeah, it is.
And I'm with you. Like the first time I listened to it, like even in the chat group, I was like, I think Damien won. And then I listened to it again. I was like, on the podcast, listened to it.
That was a different. That first. I don't know what the fuck the song was called, the Shaq song.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
Yeah.
You know, I ain't really. It was all right. It was cool. You know, it sounded like Shaq back in 2002 or something like that. No, my bad. Back in 1995 or 96 or something like that.
Yeah.
Right.
And like Dame sounded like 2019.
Yeah.
But you know, this
I don't disagree with that. Don't disagree with that.
Yeah.
Don't disagree with that.
As a matter of fact, I think you said that on the last podcast.
But I'm just saying to you, in a battle, it's about the jokes.
I agree. I think for me, like initially, and I said on the podcast too, like initially it was like the niggas beat selection. I was like, okay. And then like it also sounded like that nigga was like rapping inside of my bathtub, nigga, while I was pissing.
Right.
You know, so it just is.
And to be honest with you, Dame Lillard is not. Dame said it himself. He's not really a battle rapper.
No, he's not.
There's battle rappers and there's exhibitionists. I consider myself to be. I like to just flow, and I'm gonna throw some battle lyrics out there, but I'm not. I don't really want to. You know what I'm saying? Sit there and dissect the nigga's life and try to embarrass him. Like that's not the shit I be on. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I don't think Dame is on that either. And I think Dame has jumped into some battles because it's a bravado of the sport of rap.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I mean that's not his.
But I don't even think
by showcasing his lyricism. You know?
Yeah, but I don't think Shaq's like a battle rapper. But he's like, oh, we talking about basketball, nigga? Let me look at my trophies while I rap.
Nigga, this ain't the theater you want to fight in. This ain't the theater you want.
Yeah.
Look, like Joe said earlier, Shaq's he's charismatic, man.
As fuck.
Yeah, as fuck. You know, like he's entertaining. Like he's like watching. I used to watch Snoop Dogg's little podcast from time to time, and Snoop Dogg's just like an entertaining ass motherfucker. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You could just be talking or whatever, and that's how Shaq is. So when he actually focuses it, you know what I'm saying, and want to get on somebody's head like that, and then he has all the accolades to back him up.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
it's kind of a no-win situation.
Exactly.
Unless you like Michael Jordan and can rap.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I mean,
You know, you gotta be like motherfucking Bill Russell and can rap and shit. You know?
I mean, Shaq got a goddamn video game that ain't got NBA in it, nigga. What? That's how deep the nigga is as far as like what I've been doing in this lifetime, nigga. I got shoes, I got video games. Oh, I got another video game as far as NBA, 2K, whatever the fuck. I got movies, nigga. What you want? I got rings. I got MVPs. I got a statue somewhere, nigga. What?
Yeah.
What we doing? What you want to talk about?
He's Shaq.
and nigga bit off a little more than he could chew.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying.
His only good line walking away from it, the best line he had was, go ahead.
This is the thing. Damien Lillard was just responding. Because, number one, I don't really think he was going at Shaq, you know what I'm saying, in what he was saying.
He knew the territory he was walking in, nigga. Like you said, it's a sport, and we all know the rules of engagement, nigga.
Yeah, he did.
Come on, man.
Yeah, you're right.
You know,
I mean,
yeah, you got it. Yeah, you can't be surprised. Yeah. No doubt.
Yeah,
you can't be surprised. And so he went back at him. You know what I'm saying? I don't think that's biting off more than you can chew. That's just facing the battle in front of you.
Yeah, he tried.
He fucking with a heavyweight, nigga.
He tried.
Fucking with a heavyweight. That's
he tried, dog.
Oh, try.
No, he tried. No, like Dame tried, dog. And then I think he gonna fall back.
Hey, nigga, he need to focus on the season, nigga. He need to focus on the season.
He need to do something. He need to do something because if the season don't go right, Shaq gonna have another one, nigga.
Shaq gonna be on this nigga. He gonna be on that motherfucking like JaVale McGee, nigga.
Nigga.
JaVale McGee. He gonna be on the nigga name.
That nigga Shaq gonna have a crown with a bunch of Damien Lillard heads on the fucking like Game of Thrones, nigga. Just different faces, nigga. Matter of fact, holla.
Well, man, he probably gonna give me his own little segment, man.
Yeah, dog. Matter of fact,
man.
hey Shaq, come holler at the Brothers Breaking Bread podcast, dog. We make sure you have the correct Avi or the correct photo for your motherfucking next mixtape or next disc tape, nigga.
There
Whatever.
There it is. We're on that. We're on that.
Oh shit. All right, man. So hold on. Where we at? Okay, we at an hour 41. So yeah, let's wrap this shit up. Anyone else?
To the gym here in a minute too.
You on the gym?
Yeah, I'm waiting on my girl to get off of work. Then we gonna hit the gym.
Where you at?
Huh?
Are you in Missouri?
Yeah, I'm in Columbia.
Okay, damn. Oh man, that's dedication.
That nigga's a Como.
Oh, man, I'm just trying, bro. I'm really just starting. I really don't want to go.
Hey, dog. Hey, whatever time, dog. Whatever time you get in, we got some little bullshit gym at in my hospital, man. Like, I already know if I leave and go home, once I get to pick the kids up, and once I'm like sitting on the couch with the lady, it's a wrap, nigga. So I'm like, let me go downstairs. I got some weighted jump ropes. They got some dumbbells down there. Let me at least give 30 minutes so nigga ain't diabetic or some shit, you know what I'm saying? I see what happened to my pops, you know what I'm saying? That nigga played professional football for a year, and that nigga fat as fuck now. So I'm like, I know it's in me. I know it's in me to get that big, nigga. So I'm like, let me do a little bit.
Yeah.
So
yeah, man. Look, hey, we all getting older, and
yeah, dog. The hypertension, the diabetes, all that shit, man. We gotta take care of ourselves, bro.
Yeah, I'm not the healthiest person, man. Like, you guys, Joe, I partake in, my enjoyment. So,
hey, bro, Joe and Lady Lavender would tell you that I partake in my enjoyment also. So.
Yeah, I kind of noticed.
Yeah. You listen to the podcast, yeah. but not as much as that. Is Anthony, nigga, you still up? 10 meters.
That nigga snoozing. Oh,
passed out.
This nigga then went to sleep, nigga.
Oh shit.
He did say he wasn't gonna say no more.
What you say? He fell into the quantum realm, nigga.
That nigga fell to the quantum realm. He said he was like, I ain't gonna say nothing else. That was his way of saying I'm starting to black out.
That nigga was so drunk, nigga.
That nigga said, "Hey, now how your internet connection like just stable, but it's like you breaking up?" He like, That's my man.
You can tell when that nigga started repeating himself. He's like, man, let me tell you, man. I'm gonna tell you about. I just want to tell you about it. Let me.
I don't know, dog. Hey, the part 2 might have to be called "White Girl Wasted," dog. Oh shit, bro. Hey man, hey, for real, real thoughts there, man. Like anytime you want to come back, bro. We appreciate your time.
Yeah, I appreciate it, man, and I definitely will.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, nigga, I brought my heavy hitter out the bullpen, nigga. You already knew.
Hey, it was a good time, man.
Who won the baseball game today? Anyway?
Oh, you right.
I need to get up on it. I don't even know.
You asking the wrong man. I ain't gonna lie.
Yeah, it's all to the good. But yeah, man, I appreciate it very much. It was I enjoyed myself. It was great conversation, and yeah, man. Shouts out to the teachers also.
Yes, sir. Shout out to the teachers, man. Shout out to the teachers. Fuck the occupant. That's where I'm at right now. Yeah, man. And I think they're like it's not day 30 yet. It's like day 28, 27, somewhere in there as far as like the UA auto workers strike.
Right, yeah.
It's fucked up. You got people out there in your life. The UAW is such embedded into our culture and our society that I'm sure you know someone who's affected by this, man. So, yeah, man, talk your Congress people, whoever. And on top of that, we talked about teachers for like 45 minutes, man. You really, really, really need to make sure that you are investing as far as tax dollars into your community, which also go into education, which also goes to make sure that teachers are fully funded and fully paid, and their classrooms are places where kids want to come and want to learn, and also it's a profession. If your kid comes home and say I want to be a teacher, don't turn around and say you should be a doctor. Don't do that.
Yeah. How can I help you? Yeah. Let's make that happen.
That's my 2 cents. So once again,
I tell you, the people who are doing the salt of the earth type of work, as in building the machinery that we use to get around every day, man.
Yes, sir.
That's an important job as well, man. So I ran to a former track teammate of mine from my AAU days.
Yes, sir.
He's also engaged in struggle, and he kind of enlightened me about what the strike was about, and it's about making sure that the people who are new in the auto industry game are also being included in the when the industry is successful, they should also be successful. I've got a nephew who was an auto worker, and he has a fiance who is also one. And being young in the game, when there's a layoff, he's the first one to go, and he's been doing this for at least like 3-4 years.
Yeah.
And so they need to be able to share in success, because they are also on the line right next to shoulder to shoulder with some of these veterans.
Agreed.
They should also be able to have some stability, have some job security, and so I think that's what this is about. So I mean, as a union member, the American Federation of Teachers, I my heart goes out to the United Auto Workers, and we support your struggle.
Indeed, yeah.
Salute. And I'll very brief. That's why I want D to get on and talk about it, because what you're speaking to too is like GM has been getting away with undermining full-time employee union member employees' pay as far as increases by making sure that people are quote unquote temporary employees for 8 years. How the fuck you a temp for 8 years?
Yeah, that's crazy.
And that's how they undercut union members' fees while also putting them against, or putting temporary employees against the union members. So it's that thing of conquer and divide, man. So I won't get deep into it. I want D to get on here because he really, because like some of our chat messages with our homeboys we have on a separate chat message, they really dig deep into it, and I want him to come and just like speak to it, man, so people can really see what's going on.
I think he put a Facebook post out in the middle of the podcast. So I mean, I didn't get a chance to listen to it, but I mean,
yeah.
He's out there fighting a good fight.
He fighting a good, and like we're in Kansas City, Missouri. Kansas City, Missouri, very close to where the plant's at, dog. It's 30-something. It's gonna be 30-something degrees out tonight, and they out there striking. You know what I'm saying? So don't say they not out there trying to make sure that. And let's not
no reason.
Yeah, and let's not forget though, when the shutdown was about to come up, was coming around when Barack Obama came in, they gave up a lot as far as like what they were supposed to be getting, just to make sure the plant stayed open and cars are still being made here in America, man. So let's do what's right by these people, man. Let's do what's right, not only for the union workers, but also for people who've been temporary employees for 8, 9, 10 years. Let's make sure we do what's right. So, all right. Like I said, I want. That's why I really need D to get on. He's been trying to get on, but I want him to get on so he can speak to it better than I can, Joe can, Zeb can, everybody can. He really can talk about it. This nigga been a GM for 20-some years, so he can talk about it. All right then. So anyway. Another podcast in. Thank y'all for tuning in, Brothers Breaking Bread podcast, man. Never, ever, ever miss an opportunity to break bread with your brothers as we did here, and sisters. Thank you, Lady Lavender, for coming in, talking about teaching and education. We appreciate that. Triple B Podcast, we out.
Peace.
Break bread with your brothers whenever possible.